Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what I want to talk about, we're going to do some more planting. It is now October. I think today is the 11th of October. And I'm going to read you off my list of what all we're going to plant. Well, what you can plant in October here in Northeast Florida. Now keep in mind, this is from Northeast Florida. We still have a lot of growing season left. If you're up further north, you may not be able to do that. Alright, so for October, we can plant beets, broccoli, cabbage, carrots, Chinese cabbage, collards, kale, kohlrabi, leeks, lettuce, onions, both bulbing and bunching, parsley, radish, spinach, strawberries, and turnips. Alright, so now I don't have all of that, but I do have some radishes. Some of those. Did say carrots, right? October. Yep, carrots. Alright, so I got my favorite carrots, which are the Danvers 126. And I love these radishes. They're the French breakfast radishes. Very tasty radish. And they grow real well here. I have some borage. Now see, borage is a plant I have not had a lot of luck with. But the ideal temperatures are 60 to 85. So I think we're going to plant some of those. They are not frost hardy though, so if it freezes, they'll die. I have some dark red Detroit beets. I have some lettuce that I'm going to plant. I have a whole bunch of my broccoli seed, which I planted some and it did not sprout, so we're going to plant some more and see what happens. I've got some cauliflower, a couple varieties of Swiss chard. I already said lettuce, but I also have some red lettuce. I think I said lettuce. But I have some black-seeded Simpson, which we really like, some red salad bowl, and some Butter King lettuce. And then kale, I've got the dazzling blue kale. And I've got some other broccoli, which I'm going to plant and see if they come up. Because, like I said, my other ones did not come up at all. So we're going to try and alleviate that. But we're going to start with some radishes, okay? So now I do have the daikon radishes. Now daikon radishes would get about this big and about that big around. These radishes, you know, they're a normal radish. They'll get about that big and, you know, about yay long. And they're really tasty, like I said. So let's see, where do I want to plant them? I'm planting carrots. Those get tall. We'll plant a little bit over in here. Alright, so I have gone through and weeded out the garden. Here, take a picture over that way. Come back to me. Alright, so my whole garden looked like that. Alright, it was crazy with weeds and everything, so I spent the last week or two going through, clearing a lot out, trying to make it look like a garden again. Alright, so I still got a few weeds in here, but that's okay. I'll show you what we're going to do. And you know, I gotta say, you know, I let it go way longer than I should have. And the weeds actually didn't seem to harm anything. And if anything, it seems as though the weeds kind of helped everything as far as the soil. The soil is nice and moist and dark and cool. And I think, if anything, letting the weeds grow up for a year actually might have helped my soil. Put a lot of life back into it. There was tons of bugs and various different things in the soil. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to stir this dirt up a little bit. And I'll show you why in just a second. Alright. So what I'm trying to do is just loosen the top a little bit and get any weeds out that are growing. Now the radishes I'm going to plant in a row. And for doing that, let's see, what does this say? I think it's like a 1/4 inch. Yeah, 1/4 inch deep. So I'm just going to take and draw a little line like so. And one thing about radishes, I will say this. Alright, so radishes are a superfood as far as if you want to grow something quick because you're hungry. Radishes will mature in about 28 days, but you can eat the leaves off the radishes in probably about a week. Maybe, well, probably about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks you can start eating a little bit of the leaves. Now I don't have a lot of these seeds, so I'm going to be a little more judicious with how I place them. And I'm going to place them an inch or so apart. And just, you know, you don't have to be exact with these, of course. But I mean, you know, if the radishes get that big around, you basically want room for the radish to grow and get to full size before you got to pull it out. But I will do some thinning if necessary, if they get too close together. You see, one of the other issues you run into, which is why people use more seeds than that typically, is that not all of the seeds will germinate. You might have a batch of seeds where every seed germinates, but that's pretty rare in my experience. More often, it seems as though, you know, you get anywhere from, I don't know, depending on how old the seeds are, 50 to 60%, or, you know, maybe as high as 75 to 80, but you never get all of them to germinate. And we're just going to cover this up. I'm going to stick that right there just so I know where I planted them, and I'll mark that later. And keep in mind, we only want about a 1/4 inch of soil over the top, and then you want to kind of keep like little leaves and stuff like that out of the way, just because you don't really want the brand new plants to have to work around it. Alright, so that's planting some radishes. Now, hang on. Next, we're going to go with some lettuce. And we're going to do the black-seeded Simpson again. How old is these? 21. Hang on one second. So I've got some older seeds, and all of them have a date. Yeah, both of them are 12/21. Both a little bit old. We're going to be very generous. Now, with lettuce, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of rough the dirt up. Alright, because I just want the soil to be able to make contact with the seed. I don't really need it to be buried. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Just like so. And what we're going to do is take a handful of seeds, and we're going to do what's called broadcasting. Alright. Basically, I'm just going to take the seed and sprinkle it around. Now I'm going to do another video today about thinning, just to kind of show you how to thin your plants and why. But one of the disadvantages to this is that if you don't know what the plants look like, you can end up thinking that what you have is a bunch of weeds. And if you're trying to weed out your garden, then you might end up pulling out plants that you were actually trying to grow. Alright. Now with the radishes, I know that I got a line that goes along here. And so when they come up, they'll be all in a nice neat line. With this lettuce, it's going to come up just wherever. Alright, so what's going to end up happening, now I'm just going to smooth this over. But now one of the nice things about lettuce is that it's pretty obvious what's lettuce if you have planted and grown it before, because it comes up as a very light colored, particularly black-seeded Simpson, comes up as a very light colored plant with a very light green leaf. And like I said, I've done this enough that I know what lettuce, baby lettuce, looks like. Alright, so we're going to just leave it like that. Just makes a slight amount of contact with the dirt. Then I'll water it in a little bit, but we're going to get rain for the next 2 days or 3 days. I'm not really sure. So that should water everything in and hopefully get us to growing some stuff. Now, like I said, one of the things with lettuce, the nice thing about this black-seeded Simpson lettuce is it's a leaf lettuce. And so what ends up happening is it's a cut and come again. So basically, you have the plant grow up and you can start taking the leaves off as soon as they're big enough to eat. Alright, the radishes on the other hand, they will all mature pretty much at the same time. So you find yourself trying to harvest them all at once, and that's why I only did a small line of the radishes, because we're probably not going to eat them all at once. Alright, so you know, they'll store in the fridge for a couple of weeks, but essentially if you grow this whole thing in radishes, you'll have a ton of radishes. Unless you're going to give them away, you're not going to be able to eat them all at the same time unless you make something with just radishes. And we eat them more as a garnish in our salads. Alright, so I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the planting I'm going to do. I've got a few other things, like I said, like I showed you, that I'm going to go ahead and plant, and I'm going to get them all throughout the garden in various different places, back over here, some over there. It is still planting time here in Northeast Florida. So if you don't have anything growing, now's a good time to start getting stuff in the ground. It's starting to cool off. I mean, today I think it's like 75, 78, something like that, so it's a beautiful day. We've got some rain coming. The biggest issue you run into here in the wintertime, we will get a freeze, but usually it's pretty late, like late December, early January-ish, maybe late January. But the other issue is you don't have enough rain. All right, it's a dry season here typically in the wintertime, so you may find that you want to do a lot of watering if everything starts to dry out and look a little peaked. Alright, that's what I'm planning here at the, well, I guess it's the middle, almost the middle of October in 2023. Alright, so get something growing in your yard and you'll have some food to carry you through the winter. Thanks for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe, and let me know what you think. But most importantly, grow something.